It's time for Southern Kentucky's Great Outdoors on ESPN 1027 FM. Brought to you by Bowling Green Refrigeration, Heating and Cooling and Renegade Marine and Outdoor Center. With your host, Brian Webb. Also starring John Kirby and Sergeant J.D. Williams from Mohawk Outdoors. Josh Honeycutt from Real Tree Outdoors. Also made possible by Swagger Bipods, the Van Store Bowling Green and Glasgow. Your Can-Am headquarters. Introducing Pabst Beef Jerky. Our national sponsor, Big & J Long Range Attractants. Segments in part by Rockcastle Shooting Center, The Rock, and Renegade Marine, featuring Real Trees, Michael Pendley, Timber 2 Table Wild Game Recipes. Made possible by Outback Steakhouse, Bowling Green, and all phone interviews via the Linex of Bowling Green hotline. Get ready for all things outdoors. Here's your host, Brian Webb.
Hello, everybody. Brian Webb here. I'm joined by my good buddy for 20-something odd years, John Kirby, in the house. We've got a great show coming up tonight, folks. We got a fishing segment with Matt Stinson. If you're anywhere around Barron River Lake, you've heard that name. Obviously, Timber to Table coming up first, but then we're going to have Josh Kinser, Big & J Long Range Attractants, and Swagger Bipods. Then we'll talk to Nate high up on the mountain, Nate Noble from the Rockcastle Gun Show here, our 6 o'clock show right after us, our bookend. He is in eastern Kentucky, guiding for an elk hunt, but nobody's, tonight we got Josh Honeycutt out, JD is out. I think they're trying to get a deer, but the one man who got on the board first is sitting right in front of me, and we never doubted it, John Kirby. Man, you've had a long night, John, chasing down a monster, haven't you, buddy?
Yeah, man. I think I've slept 1 hour in the last 48. That's no joke. And there was only a couple of hours in the previous 48 before that. So to say I'm running on fumes is an understatement. So if I start to mumble, or if you see me tip over my chair, just keep on rolling, man.
Whatever you're chasing, though, I'm sure it's on fumes as well.
Yeah,
it's wearing down.
Yeah, he made his last run last night. So, yeah, man, a lot of hard work. Spent all summer watching this deer. It's what it takes. And, man, it all kind of culminated last night, and couldn't be more happier about it. Have a ton of people to thank, JD, Josh, both those guys instrumental. And, the cool thing is this is my 30th year chasing whitetails, Brian. 30 years,
and
man.
You're so young. You started early.
Yeah, and something else that's really neat is I grew up hunting with my grandfather, World War II veteran.
Absolutely.
And we actually grew up hunting the adjacent farm to where I hunted. And so, as the crow flies, it's only a few hundred yards from the property line there. And yeah, it's weird how things kind of circle back around in life,
Man, it really is, and that gives me chills. It's such a great thing. We got Penley on the Linex hotline right now. We'll try to dive into some more, hear more about John's majestic night, because it sounds absolutely awesome. And hats off to him getting a velveter this time of year, man. Especially, I've got to see it personally, and I don't know how many people have seen it, but my goodness, it's very reminiscent of the one Honeycutt got last year early. And we'll talk more about that for sure. Great story. Thanks for sharing that, John. Steak and unlimited shrimp right now. Tender, juicy steak paired with your favorite choice of crispy or garlic herb butter shrimp. Available for a limited time. And don't forget, it's always Walkabout Wednesday. So don't forget about Walkabout Wednesday. Thanks to Outback here. Right off the road, exit 22 on the Linex hotline, Mikey Penley. Michael, good day, mate.
How's it going, guys?
What's happening, Michael?
We're good, man. How are you?
So what's going on? Hey, congratulations, man. I can't wait to see pictures.
Hey, thanks, Michael, man. I really appreciate it.
It's awesome.
I was kind of questioning my sanity yesterday in the heat. It was almost 100. It felt 100 degrees anyway. I don't know how hot it actually was. But,
it was 100.
As you know, Michael, nobody knows it better than you, Michael. I mean, even in that heat, deer got to eat. Deer got to water. Deer still move in that heat.
There's been some pretty good bucks go down already. None for us, but there's been some pretty good ones.
Well, it's the season is still young. A lot of time left.
It is.
And have y'all are y'all back from vacation?
No, not yet. We're getting ready to be headed out soon. So.
Oh, good. Well, I can make it up there. Since I punched my tag, I can head out to the beach at the Finleys.
Go get something to eat. I've been seeing some of your posts, man. You look like you've been really coming up with some awesome dishes. I saw the venison kebab. Look at them. Oh my gosh, I wanted to tear that up.
Yeah.
Garrett's starving tonight, so I can't wait to hear what you got to tell me and John about.
Yeah, that kebab, it's kind of a Peruvian deal. It's got a lot of garlic in it. It's got a pretty simple marinade, and all you do is put them on there with some bell peppers and grill them up, marinate them overnight, and then grill them up. It's super flavor and really simple. So it's a great dish. I think it posted last Friday maybe. And then today, I know it's not soup weather. I'm sitting in my truck, and granted I'm on blacktop, but it says it's 101 right now.
Mm.
And so we're going to talk soup because, everybody likes to eat a big bowl of hot steaming soup when it's 101. but we're still kind of cleaning out the freezer a little bit, and we've talked about canning venison before. And you don't have to just can it plain by itself. It's pretty simple to make your own canned soup, and it's way better than anything you buy in a red and white can at the store. So what we did with this was we took venison, we cut it up into bite-sized pieces. We mixed in some herbs, some seasoning, a little rosemary, and we cut up a bunch of mushrooms and put in with it, and some onions. And mixed all that up, got it all seasoned up, and then packed it into our jars, just like we would if we were canning venison. And then one step that we take with the soup that we don't do, we do a dry pack is what they call it. When you do venison, you don't put any liquid in there. So with the soup, we pack those mushrooms and venison and everything that's all mixed together into the jars fairly tightly, not super tight. And then we heat up some beef stock and pour that over the top until the jar is almost full, not quite. And then, of course, you go through the standard canning procedure. You clean your rim really well, put new lids, new inner lids on. Don't ever try to reuse a lid that's been sealed before. And put the rings on and put it in the pressure canner. And we do it in pints because that's just a good single serving size or two people size. So in my canner, every brand of canner is a little bit different. But the one we use, it takes 75 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. And, once you do that, they're shelf stable. You can set them on the shelf. You can eat it 2 years from now. Open it up. It'll taste just like it does today. And one tip that I tell people when they're making soup or putting anything in cans is don't put pasta in your soup or your canned goods because the pasta tends to get pretty soft over the time.
Yes, it does.
So what we do is with the soup is we make the soup without pasta, and then if we want to put pasta in it, we just cook it when we heat the soup up and pour it over the top of the pasta. So,
man, I'm like you, Mike. I don't care how hot it is. I'm a soup fan. I can eat soup anytime.
I love chili.
It's got to be cool before I eat chili. I'm not a chili fan in the summertime, so.
I'll eat it anytime, man. I'll eat it absolutely anytime. Hey, let me ask you this, and you made me think about, it's my grandmother's birthday. She passed on about 5 years ago, but the best cook, Mike, if she was still living, I'd take you down there just to hear your Duncan Hines critique of it. That's how good. Oh, Mike, I can't even, everything's scratch, and it's all finger-tipped. John, you've seen them, just some of those older gals and guys that have been cooking for a long time. Penley probably does it. He can just pinch it, and he knows what to put in. So it's fun. But I wanted to ask you, now, she was a canner, and I used to love canning with her, and, green beans and beets and just everything, pickles, and she would butter them and put vinegar in them. I mean, oh, my God. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Who got you started, Mike, into and triggers your love for the culinary arts? I mean, who was that driving force, or did you just say, "Hey, I want to learn," and see somebody doing it? How'd that? Well, I've always wanted to ask you that.
Well, I came from my mom cooked, my grandmother's cooked all the time, and like you said, it was it's all awesome. They were really great cooks, but my love for cooking actually came from watching Justin Wilson.
Oh, man. I love that, man.
Every Sunday, I would watch that show. I love that show. I found out later in life that he wasn't even Cajun. It was all an act.
What?
Yeah. I think he was from down there, but he wasn't a true Cajun.
That's a shock to the system there, Mike.
Yeah, but man, he could cook.
And he was a storyteller too, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. I still watch YouTube videos.
Me too.
Of him. Yeah.
Even knowing that he's kind of Milli Vanilli, you still into
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was still a really good cook, and I used to love to watch him cook, and that kind of got me interested in it. So, I started cooking at a pretty early age.
My dad loved that.
Just never stopped.
My dad loved that show too, Michael, and I loved watching him as well. And I'm like you; I'll go back and watch YouTube videos of him, and I love the cooking. Obviously, that he was excellent. But man, the stories he always told while he was cooking, like it seemed like before the show he would tell a story, and man, he was a storyteller.
Yep.
Well, I want to hear John tell a little bit of the story because we've got a good 4 or 5 minutes left with you on Timber to Table. Check him out at Mickey Penn 70 on Twitter and Mickey Penn Eats on Instagram. I want you to ask John a few questions about his night. I'd like to just sit back and listen to two deer hunters get it out of him. He's got you got to keep him awake, Mike.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm in delirium,
so I was running on that little sleep. So
yeah.
But had he been coming out in the evening? Have you been seeing him before dark on trail camera and stuff? Were you expecting him to come by?
Yeah, so I actually, the access to this farm, Michael, was horrible, so I actually didn't even put trail cameras up. I actually just kind of went completely old school, and I glassed from afar all summer. I spent 3 or 4 nights a week out there glassing him, and he was very, very daylight active. JD's actually got some history with this deer. We think he's 6.5, maybe 7.5-year-old deer. Wow. And he was kind of actually became easier to hunt, I believe, as a lot of those deer do once they hit that age. But he was a day walker, man. He was in the beans a lot. And I saw him yesterday, the day before yesterday. I was kind of hunting. I was hunting this bean field, but I was hunting pretty much just in an observation stand. I didn't really try to get in there on him because I wanted to see him one more time. And he came out, and I thought, I got the right wind the next day. I thought, man, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to get all the way in there on him. And he read the script, and it all worked out great. And, it's a deer. I've never killed a completely full velvet deer, and this deer is completely full velvet. His bases, Michael, are just over 7 inches.
Oh, wow.
Just a spectacular deer. One of the, top couple deer I've ever killed, and it was just a great hunt. And as you know, you all put in a ton of work deer hunting. It's a lifestyle for you guys, and when you put in that much work after one particular deer and it all kind of comes together, it's just pretty rewarding.
Absolutely. And to form a plan, I mean, it's one thing to just go set up and have one come by, but to actually sit down and form a plan to hunt a particular deer, I think it makes it even more rewarding when you're successful.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Michael. And I've got hours and hours of footage of this deer throughout the summer. And it was a deer that there's actually a bigger deer on the farm, but just I loved the way this deer looked. He was just a big, heavy racked, framey guy. And so I really kind of had my sights set on him. And as you all know, it doesn't always come together. You can hunt one deer all year long and get skunked. I've had that happen plenty of times.
Absolutely, yeah.
So for it to all come together was pretty special, and I'm just blessed.
Was it a big 8 or?
Well, see, I was like I was saying, I went old school. I didn't even put trail cameras in there because getting trail cams where they needed to go, I was gonna risk just blowing the place up. So I didn't even do it. I just sat back and glassed him. I thought he was an 8 all year long until a couple of nights ago. I was filming him from an observation stand and realized he's a 9-point. He's kind of got his G2 on his right main beam kind of shoots out the back, and I just never saw it. I was always far away because just really, trying not to bump him throughout the summer. I never saw that 2 coming out the back. So he's actually a 9. I called him an 8 all year, but he's actually a 9. But, it was cool. And it was cool doing it old school, too. No trail cameras. I'm a huge proponent of trail cameras. I use them all the time. But kind of going old school this year without them, it was kind of neat, kind of going back to the roots a little bit.
Did you have a stand hung, or did you go in with a climber?
I was climber all the way. Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of my style anyway. I'm a climber guy. I think for comfort more than anything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm excited, and I mean the season's fresh, so I know you guys got plenty of time to put a bunch of deer on the ground, and I know y'all will.
Oh yeah. It's been a little bit slow up here. Of course, we're not hunting ag crops. We don't have a lot of ag in the area,
Right.
So we're not seeing a lot of evening movement. We're still seeing the 2 bucks that he's after, but they're coming in at night now. We're not getting any daylight movement with them.
Are those target bucks hardhorn, Michael? And what's kind of the ratio up there as hardhorn versus
just about
velvet?
everything is hardhorn on our farm.
Yep, kind of same here.
Yeah, I don't think on the last trail camera check, which was I guess it was Monday. I think we had one 2-year-old 8-pointer that was still in velvet, and you could tell that he was getting ready to shed any minute.
Right.
So I don't think we had a single picture of a velvet buck this week except for him.
Man, it's great stuff. Michael Penley, Timber to Table Realtree, that was really good, man. I learned a lot. John, it blows my mind. It went over my head there when he's talking G2s. I thought he was talking about jets or something. I don't know, man. That's amazing that you guys got it down to that science. But Penley, always a pleasure, man. Keep cooking that good stuff.
Will do.
And don't go anywhere.
Michael.
We're coming right back. Renegade Marine and Outdoor Center up there in Litchfield, right off the Parkway on Commerce Drive. Get up there and check it out. Got a lot of boats ready to send your way. We'll be back here just shortly on Southern Kentucky's Great Outdoors.
In Australia, we are a land of plenty. We've got plenty of things to keep you Yanks awake at night, like snakes, dingoes, and unlimited spiders as big as your head roaming the outback. Fortunately, Outback Steakhouse at Bowling Green's got a better unlimited steak and unlimited shrimp. Stop on by and grab your favourite juicy steak off the menu and get ready for all the crispy shrimp or garlic herb butter shrimp your stomach can handle. But you might want to leave a little room for dessert with their new chocolate tower. Outback Steakhouse at Bowling Green. Order online at outback.com.
Although hunting to most of us is much more than just harvesting animals, why not better your deer herd's health with Big & J Long Range Attractant? Big & J is highly digestible, high in protein, and isn't full of preservatives. With Big & J Long Range Attractants, you're not only exploiting one of the few weaknesses whitetails have, their stomachs, but you're maximizing antler growth, improving overall herd health, and pulling deer from your neighbor's property. So whether your goals are to fill the freezer, kill mature bucks, or both, Big & J Long Range Attractants will stack the odds in your favor, all the while making your deer herd bigger and healthier.
Man, that looks rough. That one got whacked good.
Yeah, I do know I'm getting sick of cleaning it up.
But it's all about the pay in the long run, right?
Yeah, you're right, but it'd be easier to quicker to go out and take us to Linex or Bowling Green.
Well, in the end, it's all about getting those hogs delivered, right?
You're right, but it sure is a mess. Forget about it.
Keep your bed easy to clean with Linex of Bowling Green. Truck accessories and more. Linex of Bowling Green on Louisville Road, Porter Pike intersection.
Renegade Marine and Outdoor Center is known for its massive selection of boats. But right now, come to Renegade Marine for massive savings. Renegade's factory clearance sale is on now with savings up to $4,000 on select models. Don't sit there sizzling in the sun. Get on the lake in a Tracker, Nitro, Regency, or Sun Tracker from Renegade Marine with up to $4,000 in savings. We want to see you on the water with a smile. Renegade Marine and Outdoor Center, your authorized Tracker Marine boat dealer. Just off the Western Kentucky Parkway, exit 107. Online at renegademarine.net.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
It's time to go fishing with Renegade Marine and Outdoor Center, 415 Commerce Drive, Litchfield, Kentucky, on SOKY's Great Outdoors.
Welcome back. We were going to queue up Blame It on the Rain, Milli Vanilli, but Garrett grew up in this era, and he doesn't realize those old 80s songs take about 5 minutes before you hear somebody come in on the vocals, don't they, buddy?
And those music videos, they're like old Japanese movies. Like the mouth and the sounds don't match up quite right.
Oh,
yeah,
my
things
God.
were different back then.
Things were definitely different. John used to be like super young to me, but now he's been a grown man for quite some time, but you're still young.
Well, I was like 16 when you met me. So
I know, dude. That's great.
Yep.
Watched him grow up. Hey, I didn't watch this guy grow up, but I know where he grew up. He grew up on Barren River Lake and knows every nook and cranny in and out of that place and usually knows where the fish are. Can't hardly get it out of him, but he'll tell us what's going on up there. Matt Stinson on the Line X Hotline. What's up, Matt? Barren River Fishing League.
Not a lot, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. Hey, John said it smelled like my college dorm room up there. So is the lake turning over?
Parts of it. It's been turning over, and it's, some of it's still over in. It really does smell like your dorm room.
Yeah, I pass over the dam every day, and it kind of wafted me. I thought I was gonna have to pull over up there and
gas mask.
Yeah. What's going on up at Barron right now, Matt?
It's been fishing pretty good. There's a lot of guys that's catching a full of fish. They're which the nights are, of course, they're over now. The Saturday nights anyway. The Thursday nights are still going on, but the nighttime blade has been on fire for some guys.
Nice. We order you a Cold War era gas mask off Amazon and go up there and wear it out.
That's right. Right.
Smelling
it ain't
salts.
bad if you can get past.
Well, what about your guys' tournament trail, Matt? You guys are still running on Thursday night, you said, and then there's still quite a few big Saturday tournaments, aren't there?
Yes, we've got one this Saturday of the BRFL, and then we've also got another one September the 28th, which is a makeup from March, where we got flooded out, of course. And then we've got our big one in October, which is a $2,000 giveaway tournament.
Ooh, now
Nice.
you're talking.
Man, I got a question for you, Matt. Somebody that knows Barron as well as you do, like Brian alluded to, you know, every nook and cranny. When you're up there practicing for a big tournament, how often do you go up there and not even use a lure or bait of some kind without even a hook? You're just trying to look for those strikes.
Oh, every time.
Yeah.
I mean, I went last night to our Tuesday night tournament, and I didn't throw a rod. I didn't throw nothing in the water till about 7:30. And that was right about the time that storm hit. And I had my boy with me. He wanted to fish a tournament with me, so I actually told him I made a cast with a big jig and threw it into the wind, and it passed me back up and almost hit me in the head. So normally I'll fish through that stuff, but with him I didn't want to. So, but yeah, I mean, back to your question, it's every time just about, you know, before a tournament takes out, you know, I'll go out there and I'll just scan. I've spent many of hours out there, and I'd say my boat's probably got 100 hours on it, and I'd probably put money 80 of them are idle hours.
Wow.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Good stuff. Matt?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
No, I was going to say it takes a man a lot. I mean, you know, when I first bought these new Lowrances, I spent countless days. One day I spent about 4 hours out there doing nothing but idling and scanning and marking and adjusting graphs. I mean, you know, these new electronics nowadays are pretty much dialed in once you set them up, and that goes a long way.
It does, and you know, I've talked to Dad about this, Matt. I mean, if you're fishing, I don't care if it's just, you know, for a little bit of weekend tournament action, all the way up to the BFL guy or some guy that's out there on the circuit. I mean, if you're trying to fish and win something, and you're almost fishing blind these days compared to, you know, 10 years ago, and I just feel like you're outnumbered and outgunned if you don't have something.
Yeah. I mean, and granted, there's still guys out there now that don't have the fancy electronics and don't care nothing about getting them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, and they can still go out and catch fish.
Oh, sure.
The only downfall is they're basically relying on what happened this time last year.
Yes.
And if they're not exactly on top of what the fish are doing, if the fish are spread out and they're searching, man, they're at a huge advantage then. Or disadvantage, excuse me.
Exactly.
Disadvantage,
Yeah.
right.
That's I'm trying to tell Dad. And, you know, it's like one of those things. And you're right. I'm glad you said that, Matt, because he's one of those guys. You know, he's got your basic stuff, and and he's fishing on patterns, and he's fishing his spots, and he's trying to catch them when they're there, but it takes a lot of that guessing game out, and to me, you're fishing a 6-hour tournament, and you've only got so much time, man, to locate, and if you already got a pretty good idea, and you can roll up and see they're not there, and just go ahead and not even trim your motor up or pull your trolling motor down. I mean, that saves you a lot of time, which gets more lines in the water on fish that might be biting and schooled up. I mean, to me, it just, if you can afford it, even if you can't get on a payment plan or something, if you're fishing tournaments, you just almost got to have it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, just a prime example, just like last night tournament, and I fished. I done a lot of scanning, and I caught a bunch of little fish. At about 11:10, 11:15, I had nothing in the well. I scanned the spot, and dude, the shit moved on the flat, and they were feeding the whole thing. I mean, there was arches and streaks everywhere. I put the trimmer down, put it on the spot, locked it up their little tricks, and first cast, 3.5 pounder.
No,
then about 10 casts later, I had 6 pounds of water.
Wow, that's pay dirt. I mean, it just shows you right there. Matt, man, I wish we had more time. I think you're up there around the dam right now because you're breaking up a little, and we don't want to lose you without saying goodbye. Listen, tell them real quick how to get a hold of you on Facebook or whatever you'd like for people to reach out if they want to try to get in some of these fall tournaments you got coming up.
Banner Fishing League on Facebook. Just look it up. I keep it updated. That goes for the big tournaments and Tuesdays and Thursdays and everything we do.
Got you, buddy. Check him out on the Facebook there. Matt Stinson, always a pleasure to have on Southern Kentucky's Great Outdoors. We'll get him on again down the way here. We always like checking in, and that's local knowledge that you just can't get enough of. Folks, I got another local knowledge to give you. Check out golf tournament coming up. Rodney Norris, my big man from Glasgow up there. A lot of you know him. John, I know you know who Rodney Norris is.
Absolutely. What a stud.
Stud muffin, man.
Yep.
Hits it a ton. Still a good golfer. Used to beat my head in high school. But I liked watching him do it, though. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Great guy. 270-670-5556. Give him a call, 270-670-5556. I'm sorry, I can't see anymore. Don't have my glasses on. You can also email him at rnorris@houchins.com, and this is the Extreme Cheer golf outing. They do it up at Fox Hollow. That's this weekend. I think it's like an 8 a.m. start. So I think you can still get in. There's still rooms for teams and throw one together because it's only $50 a guy. So, I mean, that's pretty much just what it costs to play golf anyways these days. And then there's $1,400 in cash prizes, John. They got a first and second, closest to the pin, split the pot. All to benefit Extreme Cheer. So check them out. Get a hold of Rodney, and he'd be glad to get you in this thing. They do it every year. We will be right back. Southern Kentucky's Great Outdoors with Josh Kinser here on 102.7.
This is a Morgan & Morgan consumer message.
If you've been in a car crash or suffered an injury, this could be the most important message you'll ever hear. Almost always, the person refusing to pay you is not the person who caused the injury. It's their insurance company. State Farm, Geico, Allstate, and the like. They make billions and billions of dollars by keeping as much money as they can in their own pockets. Big companies with the deepest pockets and an army of lawyers, literally thousands. But at Morgan & Morgan, we too have an army of lawyers. And you know what else? Many of our lawyers came from the same insurance companies we now fight against. If you're injured in a car crash, slip and fall, or the victim of medical malpractice, our Army will fight like hell for you. Just dial Pound Law on your cell phone. That's pound 529. Pound Law, that's all. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Offices Bowling Green.
In stores now, Pabst Grippo's Beef Jerky. We have taken the great Pabst Beef Jerky and married it with the iconic Grippo's Barbecue Seasoning. This is a marriage made in beef jerky heaven. The thin cut of Pabst Beef Jerky is dusted to perfection with Grippo's seasoning. Once you try it, you will know no other beef jerky compares. So the next time you're headed on a road trip to the lake or your favorite golf course, be sure to have Pabst Beef Jerky fueling your outdoor lifestyle. PabstJerky.com. Ask for us at your local store.
The Vance store has in stock today the Liberty Zero Turn Mower by Skag. The Liberty Zero Turn Mower by Skag is available at a cut size as small as a 36-inch and as large as a 61-inch. You can buy a 36-inch Skag Liberty Zero Turn Mower for as low as $39.99.99. You can buy a 61-inch Skag Liberty for as low as $52.99.99. Can you believe it? A 61-inch Skag Zero Turn Mower for $52.99.99. Get a 5-year warranty too. Come see the Vance store for a Skag Zero Turn Mower and get the mower that is simply the best.
Hunting in these Beverly Hills getting sorry every day. Me and Duke went as far back in the brush as you could go. The only thing we flushed out was a couple of real estate agents.
It's time to do some hunting on SOKY's Great Outdoors. Brought to you by Rockcastle Shooting Center at Park Mammoth Resort, 22850 Louisville Road in Park City, Kentucky.
Welcome back on the Line-X Hotline. We got none other than our national sponsor that we absolutely look so forward to having Josh Kinser on and all the guys, Jeremy, everybody up there. And it's always a good time. But he's down. I think he's in Texas, John. We're going to find out on the Line-X Hotline. Josh Kinser, Big and J Long Range Attractants, and Swagger Bipods. Two great companies that do business right here in Kentucky in some cases. Josh, welcome in, man.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing good, dude. First of all, before we jump into – first of all, John got a monster down last night.
I know. I don't know if we really need to talk about anything before we talk about that.
Ain't that the truth? I thought about college football. Do you still have that same thought process?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm in such delirium. Y'all go for it. I don't think I've slept in 3 days.
I want it before we dive into some Big and J and some Swagger and some John Kirby big monster buck velvet last night. Let me ask you, what was the biggest story out of college football you saw this Saturday?
Oh man, it had to be the LSU Texas game. I mean, gosh, that was. Hey, I heard somebody else say it. If that's what top 10 matchups are going to be like, sign me up.
Well, I guarantee you this deer that John got down last night's well inside the top 10, and we got to talk a little bit with Michael Penley about it, but the more and more I hear the story, the more intriguing it gets, and it's just a beauty, and I don't know if he's shared it on social media yet, but I'm sure he'll get it to you so you can see it, man. It's beautiful.
Oh, I saw it. You know, JD sent me a picture, and, man, it's an awesome deer. I mean, you know, I know it's got velvet on it, but it looks so massive, it looks more like an elk antler.
Yeah, his bases, Josh, were a little over 7 inches, and he carried between his 2s and 3s. He was right around 6 inches still. So, yeah, definitely heavy rack deer.
Bananas.
And yeah, I was telling Michael this particular farm, the access is horrible. I mean, and nobody knows better how important access is to a farm. If you don't have good access, entry routes, exit routes, in and out, man, the gig can be up pretty quick. So kind of playing the cards right was hugely important. But yeah, a lot of hard work kind of came together last night, and sometimes it happens that way. As hunters, you know, we strike out a lot more than we succeed, but sometimes when it happens, it feels pretty good.
Yeah, it's you know, we always talk about baseball, and you know, a batter's exceeding when he's hitting the ball 30% of the time.
Right.
You know, but hunting is, you know, much less than batting 300 for good success.
Exactly. Well, speaking of hunting, man, how's things looking down in South Texas right now? What have you been up to as far as the deer on your end? What's going on down there?
It's been really dry this summer. We got to a point, you know, where I hadn't seen South Texas look, gosh, it's been 4 or 5 years since
so
we've been
it's
this
finally
dry.
back to South Texas then.
And then it started raining.
Oh, really?
Here comes the rain again.
So we were, you know, I mean, it's dry stuff. We were walking. I had my kids, and we were walking through areas that I've never been able to take them because, you know, the grass is it's gone. And I rolled up there last night. I had some new all seasons blinds being delivered. I wanted to get them set, and man, I rolled up to the front gate. So it'd been 7 days since I'd been there, and I was like, back to the jungle. So, you know, it's looking good. We've got a good age class of deer. I struggle continually with trail cameras. They just get burned up. down there. And, so I don't have a lot of pictures this summer just because I just can't keep trail cameras. And this is like I think I told y'all when you showed up last year, with weeds. Everybody that shows up to the ranch, it's like, oh, you having problems with weeds? Oh, you got to try this thing. It'll kill anything. You got to have a license to have it. And I've tried every single one of them, and the weeds just come back. And it's the same thing. Everybody's like, oh, you got to try this trail camera. And it's just I think it's not just the heat, but it's the amount of heat that is just, the hours in the day. Because, you're still talking, you're 100 degrees at 9 o'clock at night during the summer.
Wow.
And just how long that takes. It's hard on electronics, man. And so, but I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited about this season. Our season opens up September 28th. So we're just kind of, biding time and getting ready. I did draw a tag. I'm leaving this weekend to go up to Kansas for early muzzleloader season. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, sweet.
The guys at Prairie Storm Outfitters sent me a picture of this buck, and it's kind of ruined my sleep for the last couple of nights. So
I know that.
I'm really, man. Kansas has kicked my butt in the past, and I feel like Kansas is that place you can go that you can sit some days for 2-3 days and not see a deer, and then all of a sudden when you do, it's a big deer. But I haven't had a lot of luck in Kansas, and so I'm hoping to kind of get the albatross off my neck.
Yeah. Are you? Is that Western Kansas, like the river bottom, creek bottom type hunting that we all think?
No, it's a little different. It's got some hills and man, it's almost on the Nebraska border. It's way up there. It's up by Prairie View, Kansas is the closest town. But they've got a little bit of rolling hills in there, and I have not been there. I'm just going off of pictures that I've seen. But man, I'm pumped.
That's awesome. So you've had your place down in South Texas, Josh. Are you seeing a big jump with this year with all the management practices and the hard work you all put in? Are you seeing a big jump with your age structure, your herd, and just overall, just kind of seeing it grow since you've had control of it?
Absolutely. So you got the factors of not only the feeding that we've been doing the last couple of years, but I've talked at great length about we're dealing, if we're trying to shoot 6 and 7 year old deer.
Yeah.
The 3-year-old drought that we had, from 2011 through 2013. Man, there weren't a lot of that age class of deer. So, the amount of 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds that we've seen the last couple of years, now we're kind of seeing those guys come into that, that big brisket look that they get. And, we're seeing, I saw 3 deer last night coming down the road that were bachelored up, and I came around the corner and just bam, they're on me in 40 yards standing. Just very healthy looking deer. I'm excited. I think this year is going to be good. It's going to be next year, which is going to be great. But I think this year is going to be a really, really good year.
That's awesome. Have you got a look at that drop time buck this year, Josh? I'm curious if you've gotten eyes on him and what he's morphed into.
I haven't. But, man, I tell you, we had even though we were dry this summer, we had so much rain in the spring that we had between the mesquite and Texas ebony, and we had a couple other. I've never seen so many seed pods and beans being dropped by these South Texas plants. So the deer were really feeding in the brush a lot, even once it dried up. And it's always tough to tell who he is. So I've got some more trail cameras coming, getting set up, and it'll really. I'll have to use a little bit of October to kind of figure out what's going on. I did spot a couple of the bucks that I thought were going to be big shooters. So I did see those, but that drop time buck that you saw, I think he still needs a couple more years.
Right.
Now I ended up meeting the guys at least over on the backside of me, and you got to go. It's the property there, and then they're in a pasture that's about 3 miles back. They had a 3-year-old double drop time last year that. I don't know what that deer's. I mean, you're probably, as a 3-year-old, it was probably in the 60s.
Oh, wow.
So I'd hope that he would migrate somehow over to me, but, we'll see.
Well, hopefully he was really busy last year during December and January during y'all's rut.
Had a lot of honeydews or something going on. Had to get to the yard work,
Yeah, he's got some talent.
That's awesome.
Don't be using that Roundup down there, Josh. I hear bad things about it.
Man, if I had time to even spray Roundup, I feel like I'm getting my butt kicked on a daily basis when I go down there. So.
You take the risk?
Yeah, absolutely. We probably do need to get our stuff disced under right now, but I haven't. I don't use fertilizer, and I don't use sprays. And it's not. I've used them in other places that I've hunted, but with this sandy soil, everything's just kind of set up. The pH is really good. It sits at around 6.7 to 6.9 almost anywhere you go, and I don't use lime, and we just kind of disc everything under and give it 2 to 3 weeks, and then generally we're good. At least in this place that we're at. So it's pretty nice to not have to go through those extra steps.
Did you do food plots this year again, Josh? I'm sure you did.
Well, we won't plant until October 15th because of the armyworms. Armyworms will just get you, and it takes 2-3 days for them to wear you out. So generally the rule of thumb in South Texas is you don't plant 1 day before October 15th.
Gotcha.
I've chased rain and done it before then, and I've been bitten every time and had to replant everything.
Josh, I was saving this until we had you on. As many Americans know, today marks a day of complete tragedy and despair, and a lot of families went to bed and woke up but never went back to the house and saw each other. And I want to think about them and first responders, and then I want to think about the men and women who put their boots on and went out there to attack this head on. And we've done a lot of damage to those groups, and we're continuing to do that. But Josh, I wish if you would you lead us all the listeners right now in a moment of silence, my friend?
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to Southern Kentucky's Great Outdoors. We have Josh Kinser on the Line X Hotline, Big and J Long Range Attractants, and Swagger Bipods. Guys, we got about 4.5 minutes here left. We'll get back on a more cheery subject, but sounds like so. Are any of the girls hunting this year with you, Josh?
They have tasks that they have to achieve to be able to do that. And, I think we're going to be good. Of course, there's homework and grades and things like that. But, every time we go down to the ranch, they have to continue their marksmanship. And then they have to, through chores on the ranch, earn that shot.
That's
so,
awesome.
The middle one, who's in kindergarten this year, she has really, really gotten good with her little rifle shooting, and I think she's going to be ready to take her first doe.
I would expect
and
nothing less.
If she isn't, that's fine. But she's been shooting and been working good, and my oldest she's hog crazy. I mean, she just wants to go after hogs. But I think she's, we'll see how she behaves and performs, and if we've got a management buck or a cull buck that we need to get rid of that I've got targeted. I may give her that shot this year as well. But she seems to be pretty happy right now, helping us with the doe population and the hogs, and that fills her cup.
That's so cool, man.
That's
Thanks
awesome.
for sharing that
Absolutely.
with us. That was great stuff.
Yeah, that is great stuff. And Josh, we've kind of touched on this before, but so your ranch is in, correct me if I'm wrong, MLD program?
Yes.
And so how much does that program and you getting to work more hand in hand with these biologists down there, man, that really just kind of allows you all to really start doing some neat things down there.
Innovation, baby.
And, really set these management practices in motion. How much has that helped?
Oh man, it's so awesome to be able, when you look at a property that, we talked about it, obviously we have less food on the ground than you all do in Kentucky. So, what may work for us may not exactly work for Kentucky. It may, if you've got a place that has overpopulated deer.
Right.
So we know the carrying capacity, is one thing, but then there's a capacity to produce large, very healthy deer. And, it allows you to go in there and work and do these things. But, at the same time, you're required to record and file habitat management practices and things like that. So you have a commitment, to do, and you have this huge list of things you can choose from. I mean, it might be disking some stuff up, or it might be creating a new water source or something like that. But it's a very good program. It's a hands-on approach to where you've got, landowners and land leasers working with these biologists, and, you've got a question, you just call them.
Yeah.
And, I know that I never had that access in other states that I lived and hunted in. I couldn't ever call a state biologist and be like, hey, on my property, I'm having this problem.
Exactly. Right.
And I think that having the access and being able to talk, and I mean, every biologist, some of these biologists even argue with each other, but still just having the access to somebody to bounce ideas off of, and then for them to come provide resources. I mean, you can actually schedule them to come out and, do brush surveys and all kinds of different stuff. So, I believe that it's the access to biologists, the communication is almost as important as the freedom to harvest to fit your needs.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's incredible. Brian's motion, I think we've got about a minute and a half, but I know, Josh, you've hunted all over this country, and really you've hunted all over this globe. But as far as deer hunting, South Texas, in your opinion, it's got to be the best age structure in the country, some of the best management practices. I mean, would you agree with that?
I would say because of the system, generally speaking, yes. Because of the system, we're not rushing. I think that if you applied that system into other states, I think you would see very similar things. So if you applied our system to Iowa, oh Lord, I mean, Iowa's already, but man, that age structure of not having to rush, of taking a deer, knowing that you've got the extended season and saying, hey, you know what, if it doesn't happen in this set of days, we've got this long extended season, which for us runs September 28th through February 28th.
Awesome.
And when you've got that extra time, there might not be that. I mean, hey, if you want to go harvest a 3-year-old deer, and that's your prerogative, or you want to do it too, I don't, whatever. But if you do want to shoot an older deer, sometimes that takes a lot of days in the stand. And, we're all busy right now, and that gives you the time to be patient and sit and not feel the need to, hey, I got to get this, or I'm going to run out of time.
Yeah, well said.
Well, we didn't want to run out of time. We never want to run out of time with our favorite guy on Texas ground, and that's Josh Kinser, and we love Big and J Long Range Attractants along with a lot of hunters in this region, and we're just very, very honored to have you, man. And thank you for your service, and enjoy those kids. You're a heck of a dad. We appreciate you, man. I can't wait to get you back on. All right.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Go College NCAA football. Hey, we'll talk about the Tennessee Vols next time me and Garrett get you on the Sports Web, okay?
Oh, Lord. What? Oh, is there anything to talk about?
That's just it. That's just it. I appreciate you. Josh Kinser, everybody. Big and Jay, don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. Nate Noble is on a mountain in eastern Kentucky. He's guiding elk, and we're going to find out if his satellite phone works. Don't go anywhere.
Tinfoil hat.
Tinfoil hat. ESPN 1027.
Earl, where in the Sam Hill have you been? I called you an hour ago.
Luann, I had to load the boat and stop for some soda pops.
Well, I'm sure glad you're including me in your priorities. They are still not working. Now the chair is stuck to my hind end, Earl. That is not funny. If I don't get this chair loose, it's liable to ruin my new, fun summer shorty shorts.
All right. Get in the bed of the truck.
What?
I'll take you to...
No.
You can't fit in the cab with that chair stuck to your backside, Luann.
This is ridiculous.
The doctor will see you now.
What seems to be the problem?
Well, obviously this chair is stuck to my fanny.
Actually, I've seen this before. It's called sticky chair. First thing, you must turn to the experts at Bowling Green Refrigeration, Heating and Cooling for your Carrier unit.
Ours is one of them others.
Don't worry, they service Carrier and all other brands. Now, Earl, if you lend me a hand, let's get this chair.
Hold still, Luann. 1, 2.
Ouch!
Sweat, combined with furniture, can cause sticky chair. Take preventative measures now with Bowling Green Refrigeration, Heating and Cooling, servicing Carrier and all others. 270-782-5391.
Hey, it's Nick Noble with the Rockcastle Gun Show here. We're talking about Swagger bipods. Do you want just your average barrel rest, or do you want to shoot with some swagger? Introducing the Swagger bipods. They expand your shooting zone with Swagger, the all-terrain hunting bipod. After more than 100 years, finally shooters have a bipod with patented, flexible, hyper-extending telescoping legs that give you the agility like never before. So get rid of stiff legs and get the bipod with infinite maneuverability. Swagger, the bipod that moves.
This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
Welcome back. Southern Kentucky's Great Outdoors. Hey, we got Nate Noble on a mountain, and guess who that's brought to you by? It's brought to you by a bold collaboration of American meats, solid pieces of American beef, and you can get Grippo's flavored even, but I'm talking about Pabst genuine beef jerky. It's fueling your outdoor lifestyle. It's fueled mine many, many times over, and I cannot wait to get a new box of it in, but I've been getting my own until then. I can't live without it. High protein, low carb, all natural, keto friendly, low fat, Pabst Perfection, the best in beef jerky. So check them out, PAPSJERKY.com, PabstJerky.com. Check it out. Fuel your outdoor lifestyle. Here we got him right now. Nate, can you hear us? Are you on your satellite phone like Jurassic Park?
No, man, I don't need a satellite phone up here. I actually pulled up on top of a mountain just so I could get you guys, overlooking the town of Middlesboro. And I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing right now. It's a lot better than being in the studio, I can tell you.
I wish I could see what you're seeing too, Nate.
One of these days, John Kirby, one of these days, brother.
Absolutely, buddy. I'm going to have to head west this season for sure, especially now that I got a little free time. But so season opens up this weekend, right?
Saturday is archery elk season in Kentucky, and we got a little change to season this year. We actually can shoot crossbow or archery. So this weekend I'll have 2 archery hunters and 1 crossbow hunter. My good friend, my new friend, but good friend here is with me, and he's one of our hunters. His name's Jimmy Bevins. He's from Frankfurt, and he's up here on top of the mountain. We're looking for his bull. And then I got my good friend Jerry Peterson from Woods Wise Game Calls coming in this weekend to hunt with us. And looking through some bad to the bone Swarovski ATS 80s they just sent me to find these big boys up here. And man, I'm ready. Season, it's a lot of work scouting and finding them and running cameras, and it's just like deer hunting. It's a whole different ball game because it's really steep and it's like the jungle up here. But it's gonna be fun.
I've been complaining about access to some farms this year I'm hunting, but what you guys are hunting would just absolutely crush my body. Rough country over there. Are y'all into the elk? I'm sure y'all are. I know y'all been putting in a ton of work this summer.
Yeah, we've got the crazy thing about up here is just depends on what your hunter wants. I mean, that's what guiding's all about, I guess.
So you're catering to the hunter a lot, right, Nate? What their expectations
and we're
are?
looking for the bulls that they want to find and the bulls that they want to shoot. And I can tell you, if it was rifle season and you just wanted to kill an elk, we can probably get that done up here in 30 minutes, depending on where we go. But looking for quality bulls. And when I say quality bulls up here, we have 300s on camera. We have 330s on camera that we've seen in person. And those for us and the clients we have for this season right now are passable bulls. We're looking to push the top 10 in the Kentucky record books. So, finding those guys and where they live is a little bit different than finding just any elk.
Man, that's awesome to hear, Nate. So you're talking pushing top 10, like what are we talking, like 370, 380?
Well, the largest archery bull in Kentucky is like 373, and if we can break 350, 360, 360, 370, we're going to be in pretty good shape. So nice. I've got, one candidate bull right now that we once I find them, I don't really mess with them too much. I'm not going in on them. Yep. I try to get on the opposite mountain and glass them and kind of find out where they're hanging out and what they're doing. And I don't want to get in and bump them and bother them. There's enough rabbit hunters and deer hunters and everything else once season kicks in. The deer hunters, we passed two guys in an ATV today that were up, putting stands up. And they're, up here there's active coal mines and there's all kinds of traffic, recreational riders doing whatever they're doing. And the elk don't mind it much as long as you don't stop or get out of the UTV. You can ride by them sometimes and kind of check them out. But it seems like this year, especially, the bigger bulls have really stayed hidden with this heat.
Yeah.
And that's challenging. So we really need them to start bugling, and I expect that to happen within the next literally 5 to 7 days. When I can really start pinpointing them when they start bugling. And I've got one little bull, chasing cows on camera for 3 hours and 1,300 pictures. But the big boys are just now starting to appear on the cameras and come out of hiding. They're all slick-horned. Finding their territory, their rubs and their scrapes right now is important. That's what we're just trying to do. I got some elk, on camera and in places that we know we're gonna see them every day that are elk of a lifetime for most people.
That's
and
awesome.
It's fun.
And you're getting video and stuff too, aren't you?
Oh, we'll get some video of the hunts. I don't have many of my cameras on video right now, but it would eat the batteries too fast up here. I mean, I'll get 30 head of elk come into a camera at one time, and then the next picture will be a bear, and the next picture will be a 150-inch whitetail.
That's awesome.
Then a rabbit hunter.
And then a rabbit hunter.
Yeah, and then a dude on an ATV.
So I know you hunted your whole life, Nate. Grew up hunting elk out west in Colorado. What are some things that you can kind of put your finger on that makes Kentucky such a great elk state these days?
In about a minute.
Well, yeah, it's unlimited habitat, man. I mean, they got so much to eat. There's no predators. They're not migrating. We don't have hard winters like they do. Where I grew up this year, 3 days over Valentine's, I had 85 inches of snow. And the elk can't deal with that, so they have to migrate 20 miles to get out of the snow where they can find graves. Up here, it may snow on them once or twice, but they don't have to leave the mountain. They don't go anywhere. These big bulls just lay around up here and get fat and sassy. We had good rain this spring, so I'm hoping the horn growth is good. It's a target-rich environment. You know, we hunt out of Middlesboro in the limited entry area here with some landowner tags. We're hardshotoutdoors.com. You can find us on there and see a lot of pictures of the bulls we take, and we got a lot of really great companies that support us, and a lot of good guides. I got other guides out on the mountain. Eric Arnold, you guys all know Eric.
Oh, we love him.
He's on a separate mountain. David Hart and Mike Hackert, they're on a different mountain. You know, we spread out and try to, you know, really pinpoint the bulls because we only got 3 days to hunt them.
Nate, love you, buddy. Have great success. We'll see you when we get back. We got to get out of here. It's time for the Rock Castle Gun Show.
Boys, see you at the ranch.
See you at the ranch.
Yeah, good luck to y'all, Nate.
Thanks for listening to Soky's Outdoors, ESPN 102.7.